is steering at his brother now.
Round number 12 of the season takes us to the Styrian Mountains for the Austrian Grand Prix, and major developments have come out of Jaguar, and that is that Max Verstappen will not race for Jaguar next season. He has decided that due to the disciplinary actions that Jaguar have been filing out to Hulkenberg and Dominic Lewis, he wants none of it now for next season and will take a stand by moving teams wherever that may be and away from Jaguar. And this is all because Verstappen was fined for attacking Jaguar over their disciplinary actions of Hulkenberg and Dominic Lewis. To recap it in a small form, there was a Jaguar employees party in which Dominic Lewis, Verstappen, and many other Jaguar employees were taking part in, were all having a nice party. And Hulkenberg was taking part in a would you rather forfeit game. And if they lost, you would have had to have taken a shot. But obviously, as Hulkenberg was driving, he decided to do a Twitter forfeit instead. It now turns out that Jaguar's principal, David Smith, went ahead and typed out the tweet for Hulkenberg to send, which was that all Jaguar employees were lazy and awful at their work. Now, it turns out he was the one that typed that in. So when Hulkenberg said he couldn't actually send that tweet to David, he went ahead then and got greeted by Max Verstappen. Now, that's when Hulkenberg asked Dominic to go ahead and just turn off his phone. But when he tried to reach for the phone, he pressed send, but didn't realise because he'd obviously turned the phone off at that point. And it wasn't until the next morning that everyone found out this tweet had been sent out and Jaguar took action. Now here's what's very confusing, is that Verstappen was fined for attacking Jaguar over the disciplinary actions. Hulkenberg has had his contract removed for Jaguar for the following 2 seasons. And Dominic Lewis has been removed from Jaguar, yet David Smith, who's the man that actually typed the entire tweet out and started the whole thing off in the first place, has had nothing done to him. Until now, because the title sponsor Panasonic are calling for the principal of Jaguar, David Smith, to resign from his position, or Panasonic will not sponsor Jaguar next season. This has caused problems for Jaguar now. They have some issues here. Now, the only thing we can think of is for David Smith to potentially move to another team, or maybe he won't even be able to get to another team. We're not really sure. The only thing that we know is that David Smith does have a strong relationship with Zach Brown at McLaren, so I wonder if he may go to McLaren. That's something that may happen, but we have no idea. And Tom now has stepped up his mark with Vodafone. He has warned Vodafone to stop emailing him and also confronting him in person every single time he gets into the paddock. Otherwise, he is walking. Of course, Vodafone started a new sponsorship deal with McLaren, but that was that Vodafone must be used on everybody's mobile network, no questions asked. Now, Sam has already been attacked by Vodafone on many occasions, and he says that he's going to walk. Now, of course, in order for Sam to walk, he needs to have confirmation with Tom, because if they leave on bad terms, both Tom and Sam leave on together as part of the contract which McLaren made. Now, with Tom stepping up his antics on this matter, it might just be that that is going to happen, so we'll have to wait and see on that front. Moving over to the transfer centre now, and with Verstappen now no longer going to be a part of all of this, Jaguar have got a major issue, and that is, well, both drivers are out. They need to find 2 new drivers now, and it's something that is definitely causing a bit of a stir. Lewis Hamilton has signed a new 1-year deal with Mercedes to drive for the team. Now, this is something that was quite a bit confusing. We actually thought that this would be Hamilton's last season in Formula 1, but it turns out he says he's got plenty of life left and wants to continue racing and is going to stay with Mercedes next season. Reese, on the other hand, will not be at Mercedes next season. Reese has confirmed he is going to leave the team. Reese has felt that he's had an amazing 3 years with the team, but he just feels like it's just not working out and he needs to move elsewhere if he is going to be able to win a championship. and Daniel Ricciardo has been linked with the Jaguar seat alongside Reese. Now, Reese confirmed that he had been called up by Jaguar to take their seat for Formula 1. It might well be that he does take that seat now that Jaguar have got 2 seats available. Also, Daniel Ricciardo won't be at Renault next season, so Ricciardo is rumoured to be going to Jaguar, but we'll have to wait and see on that front and see if that develops. And now having a look at the news for the race weekend itself, seeing how everyone's looking up, Jaguar have made a major upgrade to the aero with the drag, which has caught Mercedes' eye. Now, Jaguar, of course, making this upgrade, have massively reduced the drag, and that has, of course, given them a lot of straight line speed. And Mercedes, of course, having the best power unit, have spotted this and are quite interested in that, in fact. Renault have actually surprised themselves with their own pace. They actually didn't think they had good pace, but it turns out that they do, and it's something that they're looking forward to exploiting in this race. McLaren are dominating the second and third sector, but Mercedes dominate the first sector in particular. Of course, with the 3 main straights all having DRS zones, that is definitely going to play in Mercedes' hands if they can stay in touch with McLaren. And Red Bull are looking forward to their home race, of course. It is the Austrian Grand Prix. Red Bull being an Austrian team, it is very much a circumstance where they're looking to come out on top. But with that being said and done, let's get straight into the race for the Austrian Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Fox98 here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 Journey for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for round number 12, which is the Austrian Grand Prix, and a circuit which is going to be quite difficult for us in some circumstances and also quite good for us in some circumstances. But if you end up enjoying today's episode, feel free to drop the video a like and subscribe to this channel if you're new around here as well. And let's get straight on into it then. So immediately, we were very, very comfortable racing around this circuit. It's one of my favourite tracks to drive around, and our bank lap instantly got us onto pole position. And then on our second flying lap here, we're going around the last corner now, and as we open up the DRS here, we're currently on a 1 minute 2.5, and we improved to a 1:02.2, and that puts us very much well ahead of the pack. And as we go on to our final flying lap then, we're still fastest here in this middle sector, so we're finding even more time now. I was trying to see if I could dip under the 1:02 mark, and as we go in towards the last corner now, we take a little bit more curb there. It probably compromises just ever so slightly. As we cross the start-finish line, it remains a 1:02.2, but it's about 6/100ths of a second faster, and we do manage to claim pole position for the Austrian Grand Prix and keep up a good streak that we're now on in this series. Now as we go into the starting grid then, so it's a pole position for ourselves. Reese qualifies on the front row of the grid for Mercedes-Benz. Next up is Max Verstappen in the improved Jaguar with Lewis Hamilton P4 for Mercedes. Sam only qualifies in P5 for this Grand Prix ahead of Noah, who is in P6 for Ferrari. 7th place goes to Charles Leclerc with Hülkenberg down in P8 compared to Verstappen in P3. That's something he needs to look at. P9, Daniel Ricciardo, a great result for him with Lando Norris in P10 for Red Bull Racing. Mason Woods is in P11 for Red Bull. Will have the advantage of strategy in his side. Ocon next along the line. Butler and Russell line up next for Audi. Not a good qualifying session for them, with Gasly just in front of Valtteri Bottas in the Williams car. Next up then, it's going to be Pascal Wehrlein and Nico Rosberg for the Porsche team lining up on the second to last row of the grid. And the back row of the grid goes to Lucas Weber and Carlos Sainz, rounding off the 20 drivers to take part in this series then and this episode. As you can see, that it's going to be a one-stop strategy. We're going to start on the ultra soft tyres and flick over to the soft tyres to finish off the Grand Prix itself then. And with that being said and done, there's nothing left to do apart from get racing. So we've got 5 red lights here for the Austrian Grand Prix, and it is lights out. We go then to start the Austrian Grand Prix off. It's been a decent start for us, a good one for Reese actually, and a very good one in fact for that matter. Verstappen also getting a better start, but we go around the outside of Reese into turn 1 and we get the run, but it's still going to be a straight drag then between myself and Reese up towards turn 3, but we're just going to have the edge here as we now make our way through. But Reese has got more speed in that Mercedes-Benz, and as we go in towards turn 3 now, Reese gets the inside line. He's just a fraction clear of us, but around the outside we've got much better traction there, and we hold off the position, and we very much block off Reese there to defend the inside line. Reese will come back at us again towards the outside of turn 4, but we just hold the position there as Hamilton tries to fight his way through, and Verstappen there now gets an outbreaking maneuver not only on Hamilton but on Reese now, and Verstappen moves into second place in for Jaguar, and he's just going to hold it. Reese will try and come back in though in towards the middle sector here, side by side between Jaguar and Mercedes. Of course, Jaguar bringing bringing massive amount of aero parts here for this Grand Prix weekend, and it's clearly showing off that they've got some proper speed going on in that car as they now go in towards sector last corner. This just allows me to pull away ever so slightly, and there we go. Verstappen gets in front there as Noah James has actually leapfrogged Sam at the start of the race. So Sam dropping backwards in this Grand Prix until lap 5 of the Grand Prix now, and Verstappen is absolutely flying in this Grand Prix as we now go into the exit of turn 1. He has got DRS here to go for an attack. We go onto the grass ever so slightly there, but Verstappen now with the drag reduction that car has got, it's rapid in a straight line as it goes in towards the hairpin now, but we can brake so much later than what Max can, and we very much shove him wide there. Very similar to what Verstappen and Leclerc did in real life, but of course in this circumstance that actually allows Reese to come through with DRS, and I don't think Verstappen is going to be able to make a move on this one. Reese will have a little attack here on Verstappen. Verstappen's still there on the outside line, so Max is really fighting for this one, having some fun then right at the front of the field, and Reese though is going to maintain position and gets in front of Verstappen and holds on to that position. While we look a little bit further back here, we've got his teammate Hulkenberg now, who's overtaken Sam, is now attacking James here for what I believe is going to be P5. Ignore the glitch of the floating tyres. It happens every time on 2018, but there you go, you can't really do much about it. And Hulkenberg, to his credit, gets right past him, but now unfortunately a lap later, here comes James now to come back at Hulkenberg, and let's see what they can do now as they go in towards the hairpin now. Noah tries to attack, but Hulkenberg locks up ever so slightly. That just gives Noah a little bit of a bump there, and now Sam is just holding back with that McLaren in the DRS. He's clearly not had the pace that we got this weekend, and that's quite clear to see as we now go in towards turn 4, and that is going to be an overtake there for Hulkenberg, just about, I think, but no, it looks like he's got better traction there, but the Jaguar with that drag reduction upgrade that they've got can just go around the outside here, but it doesn't quite have enough there. But they're still going to go side by side here through this middle sector. This is a great scrap between Ferrari and Jaguar. This is what we really wanted to see, and that is amazing stuff now as we go in towards the second to last corner, and that is going to be an overtake done for Hulkenberg. And here goes Sam now to try and go down the inside of Noah James and try and steal a free position here, and he does so. So a great overtake there from Sam. He rejoins now in front of Noah, and he can set his sights on Hulkenberg behind as we now focus on ourselves here onto lap 8 of the Grand Prix now, and we go a little bit wide there on the exit, nearly caught ourselves up on that curb, but now as we go onto the straight here, it is still myself attacked by Reese, attacked by Verstappen, and also Hamilton is very much in there as Reese now goes for it down the inside on ourselves, and if we try and go around the outside here to defend, we've got better traction than Reese on this occasion, and we can hold on to the position as we now make the drag down towards turn 4. Reese here still very much close in proximity, and he's going to go for it down the inside line. Didn't really cover it that well actually, and Reese there moves into the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. I probably should have covered the inside line. I thought I could get a better grip around the outside, but it doesn't work on that occasion, and Reese now has the race lead, and this is a bit of a change then for this Grand Prix itself now as we go back on board with Hulkenberg and Sam. So Sam, who's cleared Noah James, you can see the Ferrari there dropping back into the clutches of the Red Bull now. Sam is now onto the back of Hulkenberg, so Sam clearly finding some pace now in this first part of the stint here, and he's now onto the back of the Jaguar car. Unfortunately, he's still quite a long way off them. Trying to attack us lot, but we've gone to lap 9 of the Grand Prix now. We're onto the back of Reese here. We've got the DRS now to attack, but it's a little bit of a squirmy exit off of turn 1 as we now make our way towards turn 2. I actually have to focus on Verstappen behind. Max now gets towards the outside line. He's managed to put his front wing in there as we now go in towards the hairpin that we can cover off Verstappen there. And all the while, Reese is just loving this because it just doesn't give me an opportunity to attack him. But in fairness, I'm not using all of my engine modes here that I probably could to just breeze past Reese because I'm just saving it up. So as soon as I overtake Reese, I can then just blitz off and use all my engine modes and power away as we now go into the exit of turn 1 here. But we go a little bit wide on the exit, a little bit of a mistake there actually. Just a bit too much throttle appliance there, and that's a horrible mistake there. Hamilton now passes. Verstappen there is going to get past us as well, so that's a crucial error there that we've just made. Luckily, it doesn't take us out of the Grand Prix as many of the other ones have. We managed to correct it on that occasion, but that's a silly error that we really shouldn't be making. And now on to the following lap here, lap 11 of the Grand Prix. We've now got the DRS here to try and reclaim some places back that we've just lost. Verstappen is the first target then as we go up the hill in towards turn 3. Verstappen covers the inside line, but we just about nudge ourselves towards that inside line and get the rest of it and make the position done on Verstappen. That's the overtake done for us. We're back up into third place now. Reese now leads the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton is in second place. So somewhere before we made our mistake, Hamilton got in front of Verstappen, whether that was a lockup or anything for Max. He's quite far behind, so I presume it's a lockup there, but you can really see now I'm struggling a lot on the rear tyres here. Verstappen tries to go for it down the inside and towards the middle sector, but we're not going to let that one happen. And this is when I sort of finally realised that my mistake was A, due to a bit too much throttle appliance, and B, I've overdone the rear tyres now. They're just not in a nice state anymore, and I'm not really comfortable with them as Verstappen once again tries to go for it to the second to last corner, but we can hold that one off very nicely there. And as we go in towards the last corner now, we had a lot of pace in the second to last corner and the final corner, but we're definitely going to come under even more pressure from Verstappen. The gap between myself and Hamilton, 1.8 seconds. It's not too much to pull away, to gain by, so we should be okay on that front, but we're really now focusing on Verstappen behind. As you can see, he's got just an incredible run now as we go up towards turn 3. Here comes Verstappen towards the outside line. He goes as we make a late call to defend the inside line. And here we go again on the defense, and again I'm going to force Verstappen wide and basically compromise his line as badly as I possibly can. We've now got the DRS for this straight, so we can use that to pull away, and now I just need to try and focus on getting onto the back of Hamilton once again. On to lap 13 of the Grand Prix now, and we're coming in for our first and only stop of the Grand Prix now, and it's again the back end sliding. Really just, I lost all rear tyres at this point, and I had to come in. There was no way I could attempt to do like an overcut or anything. The tyres were already knackered, so that was a no-go, but we're coming in now. Hamilton, I believe, has also come in, or that may have been Reese, one of the two. So maybe, that's Reese by the looks of it. Yeah, so Reese comes in then for Mercedes. We're boxing now for our set of tyres here, but unfortunately it's a slow stop though for the McLaren boys, and that's just allowed Verstappen to get in front of us then. So Max Verstappen jumped us in the pit stops, and what's been a race which has been very well contested between the top 4 has turned into a little bit of a disaster on my front. Of course, I was leading, and then I made a mistake, and of course that's just dropped me further back down. So that's not what we wanted, but here we've got Charles Leclerc making a move on Pierre Gasly then. Ferrari versus Ford. We've seen Ford starting to creep their way up a little bit in recent races, and Leclerc now has got the DRS here on Gasly to go again. We've got the DRS here behind all of this lot on Pascal Wehrlein in the Porsche car, who's in front of me and Verstappen. So I go for a late move down the inside on Pascal Wehrlein, slide my way on through there, and we make the overtake done. And now we've got Verstappen here versus Charles Leclerc versus the Ford then of Pierre Gasly as we go in towards the middle sector here, carrying a lot more speed now, and we're going to go for a break a little bit later actually, but we go around the outside. That's a super move there around the outside of Max Verstappen, full on bravery and confidence on fresh tyres there, and I outbroke myself versus Verstappen, and then I just carried the speed on through, and we managed to just mug him off around the outside. A fantastic overtake there. Now we're onto the back of Pierre Gasly in the Ford. Leclerc pits for his first stop of the Grand Prix. Lap 15 of the race though, and the two Mercedes cars are out front by quite some distance, and Sam now is actually rejoining into the fray. And funnily enough actually, Sam is rejoined right behind me, so Sam's overcut attempt worked perfectly. Verstappen's trying to find his way past Pascal Wehrlein. We're going to find our way past the Ford now of Pierre Gasly there, go down the inside towards turn 3, and how the race has changed in the favour of Sam. He was dropping back in the early phases, but now it's all working his way. Meanwhile, we're going to go back on board with the front 2 of Mercedes-Benz, and that's Hamilton going down the inside of Esteban Ocon for second place. Reese leads the Grand Prix. He's already passed them at this stage. Lap 16 now. We've got a safety car that has come out now, so that is going to completely change the complexity of this race. Mercedes had a big advantage, and that is now gone in a heartbeat there. So something caused the safety car. I tried to go and find what it was, and I just couldn't. So yeah, not really too sure about that, but as we now get ready to go back racing them once again here, now in towards the last corner, and Reese leads us away. Then Hamilton is in second, Hulkenberg third. We've had a poor restart in P4. Sam now is going to try and go for an attack on us here in towards the inside of turn 1. We don't really want Sam to be anywhere near us in towards this Grand Prix, but he's going to go for it now in towards the first corner, but we hold him off quite comfortably now as we're going to focus now on the fight at the front here. Reese now under pressure from Hamilton. Hamilton pressurized by Hulkenberg. Hamilton goes for it down the inside of turn 3 on Reese. Can he make this move stick and overtake his teammate now in this Grand Prix? Mercedes really don't want them to be scrapping too hard here, because of course they really need to be focusing on getting the best result possible if they're going to close this down in the championship. But Hamilton now goes towards the outside of turn 3 this time around, and Reese there, a little bit of a barge there from Reese on the inside there, bit of contact made, but it's okay. Reese can hold on to that one. And now we can focus on ourselves here. Sam now is going to go for it around the outside of the middle sector. Will Sam do what we did to Verstappen earlier? He does so. So Sam mugs us off now around the outside here. And I can't get the tyres up to temperature. So what's been the problem here is I can't get the tyres working. And now all of a sudden, we're under pressure from the Red Bull of Mason Wood behind. Very, very squeezed tight there. We go on Mason, but we swoop around the outside there. And I can't afford to lose any more places in this Grand Prix now. As we see there, Hulkenberg under pressure, or pressuring Lewis Hamilton, who's struggling to to keep onto the back of Reese. He's got to focus on Hulkenberg, and that's going to give Reese the opportunity to pull away now as they go in towards turn 2. And as we carry on now towards turn 4 here, Hulkenberg now going to make his attack on Lewis Hamilton, and he does so just down the inside there. Hulkenberg hasn't stopped in this Grand Prix though. He's still on his ultra soft tyres, still got a bit of life left in them as well there, as Sam, as you can see, is pressurising Hamilton and also Hulkenberg. Reese, on the other hand, is just pulling off into the distance and saying bye-bye, I don't really want to be with you lot, and he's off into the distance. No one's going to be able to catch him at this rate. As you can see, here is us now trying to make our way on through. Here comes Sam though, trying to make an attack here, but we're now under pressure from the Red Bull behind, and we have to shove him wide on the exit. And again, I just can't get the tyres going. I really am struggling to just get onto the back of everyone now. And what was turning into, well, it was a rough race anyway, it's getting even worse for us now. DRS has been enabled, and we can use that in our favour. So let's see now if we can try and make anything work from this now. We open up the DRS here versus Sam and Hamilton, who's in front. We are going to use our engine modes to try and blast away here. And as we now go up in towards the hairpin of turn 3, braking very late here, but there seems to be a lockup from Hulkenberg. Hamilton had to take evasive action. Sam had to brake really early there. I had to then just literally go straight off the circuit. We get a warning for track limit exceesions there, which is kind of fair enough, but now that's put us on to trouble here, because here comes the Red Bull of Mason Wood to go down the inside, make the move stick. We're going to try and hold it around the outside here, and we're just about going to try it here, but Mason looks like he's got more engine modes enabled at this stage of the race, and even more disaster then in this Grand Prix. We've lost another position now to the Red Bull here, and it looks like the Ferrari might just go into its own as well, but look how late we can go on the brakes there through into towards that final sector. But now, what we were trying to do of attacking Sam and building some momentum, we've just lost it all again with another problem for us in this Grand Prix. And now we've dropped down to, I believe, 6th place maybe in this race. Hulkenberg, though, looks like he's coming for his stop now, but that's probably compromised his race quite heavily, actually. He probably should have come in when the safety car came out, but he doesn't do that. We tried to have a look in towards turn 1 on Mason Wood, and at this stage of the race, you could just sort of see the frustration starting to settle in now as we're losing track now. And here goes Noah now to try and attack us in towards turn 3, and I really can't be doing with this, so we're going to brake super late in towards turn 3, go down the inside of Mason Wood there. He broke early because, of course, there was a domino effect of braking, and now we're back up into 4th place in the Grand Prix. Now we've got Hamilton and Sam in front of us, and Reese is absolutely flying and has just gone off into the distance. Now we need to see if we can try and find our way past Sam and Hamilton as quick as we possibly can. Speaking of finding a way past, Sam has also just got himself past. Just absolutely sliding into the background there. You can tell how hard I'm really trying in this Grand Prix to get something out of this now, as Sam now has got Hamilton's got DRS on Sam here, but Hamilton's got front wing damage actually. Yeah, he's lost his front wing end plate there on the left-hand side, so that's really going to cost him in terms of the middle sector. But when he's got the DRS, which is on all 3 of the long straights, that really doesn't matter for the Mercedes of Hamilton, because he just flies down the inside now in towards turn 3 here, and Hamilton makes the overtake stick. We have to sit in behind and just wait and see what's going to happen. We're the only car here with DRS, but I don't really want to try and make too many rash attacks here, because I want to try and not only compromise Hamilton in this Grand Prix, but also benefit Sam. Sounds weird because he's the closest man to me in the championship, but we need to do what's best for the team, of course. And of course, with Mercedes of Reese leading out front, I need to make sure that Hamilton finishes in P4. In other words, if we can break the DRS from Lewis Hamilton between myself and Sam, then Hamilton's not going to get near us because he's got front wing damage. He's holding on, and you can see here, literally, because he could just fly up to the back of you with the DRS. Sam brakes very late in towards the hairpin, and that's going to allow him to get in front. And this time now, I've decided to make my move. Sam's actually compromised Hamilton a little bit there. Now I can use the DRS here. Sam's got DRS of his own, and now I can get onto the back of Sam here. And as we go in towards turn 4, I'm not going to go for it on Sam, because now we can use this middle sector where Hamilton's nowhere near us to just blast away and hopefully not have him interrupt with his DRS attacking Mercedes straight line speed goddess that he's got in the back of that thing, as we now make our way through in towards this middle sector here, trying to keep it nice and composed. We're already half second clear of Hamilton. We need to do a little bit more than that if we're going to try and maintain this. But in towards these last 2 corners, these are my strongest corners on the circuit, so we should be able to really gain some time now on Sam, and that's exactly what we do. Right onto the back of him now here, and opening up the DRS here. Hamilton long behind now. He might have just got into the DRS there. He's 1.1 seconds back as we go in towards the first corner here, and Sam defends very nicely in towards there. I didn't really want to go for it in towards turn 1, but now as we make the run up towards turn 3, this is the best chance that we've got to get past Sam here, and we do so, breezing past our teammate and up into 2nd place now in the Grand Prix as we go into towards the hairpin now, and Reese is 6 seconds clear up front. Hamilton and Sam are now behind us, and Hamilton may have the DRS on Sam for a little bit, but I'm pretty sure Sam will be able to hold that. In fact, speaking of having the DRS, Sam does have the DRS, but Hamilton also has it as well as they go in towards turn 3 here now, and we're starting to pull away from this crew. So as you can see there, Sam is doing a very nice job of defending against Hamilton. Hamilton, though, is going to go towards the outside line of turn 4. Let's see if he can make this one stick. He absolutely breezes past. Even with Sam having DRS there, that just shows the raw speed that Mercedes have got. And here comes Sam now to attack Hamilton in towards the first corner, towards the outside line. Quite an interesting way to go about it, but he does it, and it's a very nice overtake there. And he's got DRS on this straight, but here we go again, just repeating what Mercedes have been doing pretty much all race long with Hamilton, and that's flying up onto the back and making a move stick here. In fact, no, not on this occasion. Sam does hold off against Hamilton, but Lewis does have the DRS now on this second straight here, but Sam looks like he might have turned the engine modes up a little bit there, as we're now going to go a little bit further backwards here to Max Verstappen now, who's doing so well at the start of the Grand Prix, but unfortunately, his race has unraveled into a little bit of an annoying state here, because now he's been passed by the Renault of Esteban Ocon, who really, in terms of overall performance, Renault have been doing a great job actually, but Verstappen says that, no, I don't really want to be passed then, and just gets past him and says, thank you very much, I'll retake the position that I was currently fighting for. Ocon unfortunately loses out. But at least he's in the slipstream and the DRS train here, so he might be able to get something out of this now as they go onto the straight here. Ocon, once again, got back in front of Verstappen, but Max now basically fakes towards the outside, then goes towards the inside then, and I think Verstappen's got front wing damage, which might just call why he's been not performing too well in this middle stint here, but he's got a Red Bull and a Ferrari going at it behind them of Noah and also Mason, I think this is, as they go in towards the hairpin. That's Verstappen trying to make his overtake done, and now speaking of the Red Bull and the Ferrari, they're still side by side actually, so fair play to them. Verstappen now has got great streak here, and yeah, he's lost his front left end plate, so Verstappen there, that's exactly why then he's dropped down the order, but he still makes the overtake stick because he's got great straight line speed, and in fact, he's pulling away from Esteban Ocon, so despite front wing damage, the three behind them are fighting so hard here that Verstappen is able to pull away. That's quite crazy, actually, to believe. There goes Verstappen off into the distance. He says, bye-bye, I'll see you later. And now here comes the Red Bull of Mason Woods, and then also Ferrari of Noah James trying to attack Esteban Ocon. Ocon in towards the hairpin now. He looks like he's just about going to hold on in there, but it doesn't look like it's going to be for too much longer, although he has got DRS here, so this might just favour him, actually, as they go down the straight. Ocon, with the straight line speed of that Renault car, out-dragging the Red Bull, so fair play to him. Meanwhile, back onto us though. Lap 28 of the Grand Prix now, and this is a bit of a highlights complex. We're now starting to close up on Reese, and it's do we have enough laps to do it? We're setting fastest after fastest final sectors consistently. With the problem we've got is we don't have enough fuel or ERS really to go into high engine mode, so I'm having to watch that. But lap 30 to lap 31 of the Grand Prix now, that gap is 2.9 seconds, new personal best lap. Now Reese is getting much closer. This is lap 34 though. To start lap 35, it's only 1.5 seconds now, another personal best, fastest final sector, but annoyingly for us, we were doing so well in the latter stage of the Grand Prix to catch Reese, but I tried everything I could, literally flying it through these final two corners now, literally losing the back end here. We've got into DRS of Reese, but unfortunately, we've run out of laps, and Reese is going to come across the line to win the Austrian Grand Prix, and we come across the line in second place, and that's a great recovery drive considering the adventures that we got ourselves involved in this race. But I honestly think with just one more lap, we probably could have got past him because we would have had DRS on both of the straights then. But Reese wins the Austrian Grand Prix for Mercedes, and we finish in second place, 0.8 of a second behind at the end. Sam finishes in third for McLaren, so a great result for us today. Hamilton finishes in a distant P4 after the front wing damage. Verstappen finishes in P5. It was a great result actually for him, and he was actually closing on Hamilton in fact. Ocon just behind Verstappen. He got back in DRS then of Max, but couldn't make it stick. Noah finishes in P7 for Ferrari. Daniel Ricciardo in P8 for Renault, and then it's Leclerc in P9 for the other Ferrari, and then Hulkenberg P10 for Jaguar. And it was actually Nico Hulkenberg that claimed the fastest lap bonus point there for Jaguar with a 105.181. And just as I'm looking at this now, I have just spotted that Reese's points says 26. However, I always use my Google Docs sheet for the points, so Reese will not get added a bonus point for that. So do not panic, because I've just seen it now. So thanks for spotting it, Tom. Now, as we look at the second half of the race then, you can see George Russell finishes in front of Devon Butler for Audi again. No points for them today, and with both Renault and Jaguar picking up good amount of points, that's not good for them. Pascal Wehrlein finishes in P13 for Porsche, ahead of Gasly in P14. Lucas Weber, P15, ahead of Carlos Sainz, and then it is Nico Rosberg in the Porsche. And Valtteri Bottas, unfortunately, failed to finish today, and it was an awful result for both Red Bull cars because none of them actually finished at their home Grand Prix, so an absolute disaster for them today. It's a double DNF for them, and they need to go back to the drawing board by the looks of it. As we now have a look then at the Drivers' Championship then, so we are in the lead of the championship on 219 points. Sam is second in the championship on 170 points, and we really are now beginning to pull very, very clear and build ourselves a nice comfortable advantage. It's now 49 points between myself and Sam. Reese then on 156 points now after his victory here today. Hamilton is on 121 points with Noah on 105 points. Hamilton pulling away ever so slightly from Noah in the championship. Mason Wood retains P6 in the championship on 82 points despite not scoring a point. Same with Charles Leclerc. He's now on 70 points, although he did score. And then Lando Norris in P8 with 53 points. Max Verstappen now tied on points with Lando Norris after his P5, I think he got today. And then George Russell stays in P10 in the championship. And of course, the next race is not the Austrian Grand Prix, it's the Italian Grand Prix. I probably shouldn't have made these championship standings at 2 o'clock in the morning. Would have helped me if I did it at a time where I was actually normally awake, but there you go. Now moving into the Constructors' Championship then, McLaren are on 389 points, ahead of Mercedes who are on 277 points. Ferrari are now on 174 points and have pulled clear now Red Bull after their double DNF, so Ferrari maintaining that third place in the championship. And that gap has now closed between Audi, Renault and Jaguar. Audi failed to score and they're on 78 points. Renault are on 73 points now and Jaguar are on 65 points. Those three covered by 13 points. Ford are on 16 points, stay in front of Porsche on 10 with Williams on 6. But with that being said and done, let's get straight into the post-race notebook and see what the teams and drivers had to say after this weekend of racing. First things off then, so Reese is glad to be back on the top step of the podium after so many races where he felt that he was robbed of that. Of course, Reese this season has actually been probably his best season so far, but once again has been plagued by problems, whether that be front wing damage from other cars or even reliability issues. Go back to Silverstone when he should have won that Grand Prix, but his car let him down. He says it feels very, very good, back on the top step of the podium, and wants to try and build some momentum towards the end of the season. Tom, meanwhile, was left frustrated after mistakes cost him the race victory today. Tom only finished 0.8 of a second behind Reese at the checkered flag, but of course Tom made a mistake on the exit of turn 1, put a bit too much throttle power on when his tyres were already overheated, and of course then after the safety car restart, he said that he just did not get his tyres working straight away, and that cost him crucial amounts of time. And eventually when he got his tyres working and was able to get the power down, you could see that he was much, much faster, but just couldn't make it stick. Jaguar are confident that they can beat Renault and Audi after a solid race. Jaguar made upgrades to their reliability 2 races ago and now have made some major aero upgrades, especially with the drag reduction that they've made on that car, and it's very, very slippery now in a straight line. They believe they've got enough now to beat Renault and Audi quite comfortably, and Renault actually managed to exploit a strength of theirs they didn't know that they really had. After this Grand Prix weekend, it was clear to see that the Renault power unit was very, very strong and their straight line speed was very, very good. This just does mean now that they need to focus more on the chassis and the aero front, and then they've got their package sorted. This was something that they noticed after a strong result here today, and of course they now feel confident at the Italian Grand Prix that they'll be able to pull something out of it. So hey ho, Renault seem to have themselves a stepping stone for next season. But anyway guys, that is going to wrap it up for the F1 journey for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. Next time we're going to be going over to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. That should be an interesting one, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care all. Peace.